morning. Welcome back to some Ironman training. Taylor has just returned from a wonderful family trip, ready to get back in the saddle again. Ironman training, preparing for the Ironman it's getting close, in April.
Too close. Way too close, and I'm not ready. So
Oh, you're way more ready than I ever will be. So I'm very impressed. So, I know you and I talked about it before we went live, but tell us a real quick recap of your fun family trip, and then let's get into it.
yeah, sure. So technically this was spring break for us. And I know spring break is actually different depending on where your kids go to school and all this kind of
Spring
stuff.
break
But
is next week.
yeah. Oh, we're missing a view. We're missing the side view.
That's
Let me
right.
fix that really fast. Sorry.
It's okay. Got to prepare all of our camera views. There we go.
Yeah,
We can look at your whiskeys. I don't think in our Facebook Live we've ever actually walked through all the different whiskeys that you had.
Yeah, we'll do that one day.
Do that one day.
We'll do that one day. Okay. All right.
All right. All right. Back to it. Tell us about your trip.
Yeah. So, long story short, it was a cruise Carnival Miracle cruise, leaving from Los Angeles, technically Long Beach, and it was probably, I don't want to say probably, but my wife's grandmother is 97 years old, and she's survived stage 4 lung cancer too. So she's an absolute fighter and trooper. And so I've been actually pushing for this for a while to be like, look, like just realistically, statistically, probability wise, doesn't have that much longer on this earth, right? Like we're not getting younger, like let's do something as a family. And I think cruises, especially for grandma who's 97, who's somewhat wheelchair bound, that's like the easiest thing to do, right? And just in general, like we ended up having 39 people in total. So it was a massive crowd. Yeah, it was a big thing.
Saw the picture of everybody standing all together, huddled up, looking all happy. It's very, very cute.
And that unfortunately isn't even everybody, but that was everybody that could make it, right? So there's still some folks who are like running a restaurant, like there's still some folks doing stuff, but it was great because grandma got to see how many, 4 generations?
Wow.
1, 2, 3. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4 or 3? Because it's her kids, which are our aunts, then their kids, and then the kids again. No. Oh no, yeah, 4 generations if you include grandma.
Did you take the boys?
4. Yeah. So everyone brought their kids. I think honestly it was for the kids. The kids had the best time ever, right? Because all of our kids are all around the same age, and so you had like, I think there was like 8 total kids spanning from, like 9 months old all the way to 7 years old, right? Wow. And tons of them. And so, yeah, it was really fantastic. Went down to Cabo. I got 2 scuba dives in while I was in Cabo. Because I am advanced open water certified or whatever it's called. Definitely really fun, really cool, different kind of diving experience. It was absolutely freezing. Cabo's water is like 65 degrees, whereas in the Philippines, where I got my certification done, it's 85 degrees.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of people are like, well, why don't you scuba dive with the the
Wetsuit.
neoprene wetsuit. Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
I did. We
And it was
know
so
with
cold.
wetsuits, it was freezing. It was still freezing.
That's why I
Like,
like my Caribbean, man.
oh yeah,
Take
the
me to
Caribbean's.
Honduras. Let me scuba dive in those reefs. That water barely gets below 80 ever.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
No, and what was pretty crazy was we were diving probably like 50 minutes from shore or
Yeah.
50 minutes from like civilization per se. And on our second dive, as I was coming up and got back into the boat, I saw essentially the Coast Guard and got back into the boat. I saw essentially the Coast Guard like red emergency speedboat speeding past us.
Mhm.
I looked in and there's essentially five guys at the back of the boat hovering over, what I assume is a scuba diver, and they're doing chest compressions.
Oh no.
And yeah, and I was like, oh shit.
Scuba
Because
diving is incredibly dangerous.
it's
Well,
dangerous, but
if you don't know what you're doing, I guess it's
yeah,
that
like
the
I
bend
think,
coming up too early and all that.
yeah, I mean, it's, and don't get me wrong, like I can see how in that environment, if you weren't properly trained, right, like, or like yeah, like for example, if you got certified in like a kind of crappy, shady place where they just kind
Mhm.
of dole out certifications,
Which
um,
there's plenty of.
yeah, like I can definitely see how if you were diving in Cabo, like it was pretty much solo diving. I mean, you had like a guide, and they checked on you, but like
Sure.
you needed to know what you were doing. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing though. Don't get me wrong. Like I was there. There were views where you're like 25 meters down. You still see some light from the
Mhm.
sun, but above you, literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of fish that are like in like those massive schools or waves of fish. Right?
Yeah.
Like we were literally in like the schools of fish with them. And it's pretty fun because it was a really awesome experience because we had sea lions who were feasting, right? Or
Yeah.
like
In the
chasing after
school,
in the schools.
that's
And
pretty
so
cool.
like we literally saw like this fish like, like going crazy nuts and there's all around us and yeah, it was super cool. But in any moment, if you freak out down below,
Mhm.
you're done. I mean, that's it, right? And for it to be that cold and everything, like, yeah,
Is
you,
there
you
a
definitely
reef
got to be
in
mentally strong.
Cabo as well? I mean, because in where
Yeah,
I'm
not
familiar
really.
with.
So the Cabo ones, the reefs, they
Mhm.
have some, but it's nowhere close to like the coral that's in the Philippines. Like in the Philippines, where I was diving in Bohol, um, it was primarily reef diving,
Yeah,
right? Whereas here, it was primarily diving for like these massive schools of fish,
that's pretty cool
and
though.
like sea lions and whales and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't even think
Um,
about whales. There's tons of whales out there.
yeah, so really
I'm, I'm,
cool, but
I'm familiar with the Gulf. I mean, I've gone Belize and Honduras, and I've never gone scuba diving because that is not my jam. My brother is very into scuba diving. I'm a snorkeling kind of guy. But
yeah,
over in Honduras and Belize, you've got there's a Great Barrier Reef there. It's very pretty, but it's nowhere near. I'm not going 25 meters. I'm going 25 feet. That's what I'm doing because I'm snorkeling the whole time. I do not have the desire to go deep enough that I need a tank.
right.
That's freaky to me. That seems scary. I'm not into it. Just let me look at the pretty colors from kind of the surface, and I'm happy.
Yeah. So
But one of the things that we were talking about earlier that I really, I think it's an interesting transition talking about a cruise and why it's so great for instance, old people, the older crowd, but also for the same
oh,
reason
just
that
even families, right?
it
And
is because it's
yeah, because
every
like it's everyone, and yeah, look, the cruise is the ultimate bundle.
yeah
It's the ultimate do everything for me. I don't have to think. I just
I
show up.
want vacation. I am purchasing vacation.
Yeah,
That way you can focus on all of the fun vacation stuff, right?
yeah, yeah.
So so to me, when we talk about that, because my brain doesn't stop tying everything back to us, it makes me
Mhm.
think of this, you know, kind of objective that we have of becoming like a full property management system in a box, you know, beyond accounting. APM help is something that I think that the general you know, public facing image of APM help to the larger property management industry is, oh yeah, they're just accounting. You know, yeah, we need accounting done, we go to APM help, but there's so many other things that, like, oh, by the way, you know what else we can do for you?
Right.
And I think until you become an APM help client, I think you miss out on what all we are able to help you with, to where we want to be the cruise for your property management company. Look, you want to do property management, all this other stuff you don't want to do. Let us help you with that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and we've internally been talking about it or code naming it beyond accounting, right? And so it's literally everything beyond accounting, right? So a very simple one that I think everyone who's already kind of in the industry is well aware of is, like, for example, we can make recommendations for the right bank, right? Um, Still related to money, but most PMs don't use the right trust accounts or the right bank. And
Yeah.
we've got partnerships with, for example, Enterprise, right? We have partnerships with Axos Bank, right? We're working on additional partnerships with other banks because not every single bank, for example, like Enterprise, can cover our clients in every single state, right? And so those are things where, like, if you bank with Enterprise, you pretty much get our daily bank recs covered or paid for, right? And like those are huge, huge perks, right? It's like, for all the folks that are paying for bank recs today or not doing them at all, right? Just by switching to an industry specific bank that actually, knows trust compliance better than anyone, right? Like you along with it get our daily bank recs, which comes
Yep.
with daily bank recs and our three-way rec reports, right? Which we're essentially making sure you're being trust compliant. So yeah, I mean, like, those are some small things. Another one, Home Depot. If you're a client of
Oh
ours,
gosh.
right, like, we've pre-negotiated essentially master rebates with Home Depot, right? So all of your spend, at a minimum, you're going to get 1% cash back. And we're still trying to design this, but essentially, we can give more than 1% cash back. We can give
Mhm.
2% cash back. And granted, there's like spending limits or not limits, but spending like thresholds that
Okay.
as a network, all of our clients have to surpass. But
Yeah.
as we're surpassing those, the entire network gets more cash back, right? And so, these are things that are pre-negotiated. And it's like, if you're a small mom and pop, good luck trying to talk to anybody at Home Depot,
Oh
right?
yeah.
We have a nationwide program. Literally, it's your program code APM,
Hmm.
right? And you plug us in. As long as you're a client, we'll get you rebates on all of your spend throughout the whole year, right? And
Home Depot is one of those places that doesn't do discounts either, which is a pretty
well, they
interesting.
they, they do coupons and stuff, right? But
Yeah, but I
yeah,
mean, like, that's not one of those places where there's like, oh, I've got a friend that's an employee. Let's do an employee discount. Like, they don't do employee discounts. That the only like public facing discount that they do is like a military discount, unless there is some arm like us coming in and giving you quite literally a specialized code that has taken work to get into. Like,
right.
Home Depot is not the kind of place that just kind of tosses out a discount for fun. They don't do that. They're not Walmart.
So that's Home Depot, right? we've got, for example, if you're still using a dumb credit card, right? We've got Ramp.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, ramp.com, ramp.com. What does it do? I mean, it's a smart credit card, right? It's corporate spend for everything, whether it's for your properties, for your company, or your business. But on top of that, all of it syncs beautifully into QuickBooks, right?
Yep.
And, like, I don't know if, not necessarily, I don't know, but if you haven't dealt with reimbursement tracking, right? Like, or maybe you're doing them, but you're not tracking them properly, right? Ramp is arguably as close to the holy grail as you can get so far when it comes to reimbursement tracking in that entire flow, right? And guess what? You don't lose crazy benefits, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh no, but my cash back and blah, 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 right? Like with Ramp, you get 1.5% cash back, unlimited everything, right? And guess what? There's another one that we're working on literally right now, right? So for anyone who's listening, but like I'm negotiating with T-Mobile right now, right? T-Mobile for $20 a month. Now, granted, it's technically 15, but after the taxes and fees, and different states have different 911 fees and blah, 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 they're per line. But long story short, for $20, as long as you're a client of ours, right, we will bundle in $20 unlimited everything for a T-Mobile line. It's a business line. It's the best line you can get. Now, granted, you don't get like subsidized iPhones or whatever it is, but for $20 a line, you get unlimited everything with us, right? And that's, again, yet another beyond accounting kind of perk, right? That every time I personally, not only when I ask like employees or staff, but anytime I look at the P&L of a property management business and you see $6,000 a year being spent on phone, right? Like I literally just like, why? Right? Like it's one of those like head in the hands, like what's going on here, right? And it's almost always they're on legacy stuff that is just like it's just worked, like we don't want to change, and so we just stick with it.
Well, it's either that or, when I was consulting with property managers and I would ask about, how they have their phone systems set up to like start talking about CRMs and things like that. And they would tell me something like, oh, I use my personal cell phone as the business line. And you just look at them like, why would you do something like that? Do you not want peace at night to sleep? Do you not want to be able to turn it off and go to bed occasionally? And then do you want all your tenants to have your cell phone number? No. Everybody's got somebody that you don't want to have your cell phone number. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, this would help so many small, even larger property managers for that matter. Just the ability to get that line on top of everything else they're doing. Just have that one dedicated PM line, $20 a month. That's nothing.
And look, we're trying to figure this out, but we do want to make this available to anyone and everyone as long as you're a client of ours. Right. So now, granted, I don't think we can jump the chasm and make it available to our clients, friends, and family. But like it is one of those things where it's like at the end of the day, we also, like it's one of those like we get better pricing the more lines that come over, right? Like that's how the world works. When you have volume, like and I'll be very transparent. Our setup right now, we've got to get 300 lines at a bare minimum to even qualify for this, right? So anyone thinking like, oh, screw this, let me just go to T-Mobile or AT&T myself to try to go get something like this, right? It's like you need a decent amount of volume, right? And I don't know about you, but like I was able to scrounge together, like 50 lines with friends and family, but trying to scrounge together 300,
a lot, man.
No, that's a whole nother level, right?
That is like you need to farm some of that out. I mean, we're going to be talking about some of this while we're at Broker Odor. I know Jesse and I are going to be telling people about this just because it's one of those things where it's a group deal. The more people you have, the better of a deal it gets to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like the more people that can get in on this opportunity, hey, guess what? There's more in it for you. I mean, like you need to join APM Help anyways. You need to jump on board with that. But once you do that, check it out. Check out the other cool stuff that you get. I mean, this is how it all kind of comes together. Like don't sign up for APM Help just for the free phone line, but like check it out.
Well, it's not free. The discount.
Well,
it's not free.
For the $20 phone line. Don't join just for the $20 phone line. But like, guess what? That's so great. It's when you were talking to me about this last night, it's the industry kicked off with resident benefits package a few years ago. And then last year and kind of the year before, people started coming out with like an owner benefits package. Like I liken this and what we're trying to do we're trying to come up with like, I mean, it's beyond accounting, but it's like a property management benefits package. It's the same idea.
Same
You've
idea.
got
It's
to have
like
more than just accounting. You need more than just one thing. I mean, like talk about our maintenance coordination line. I know we're setting up a call pretty soon with some other people in the industry about this, and I don't know if we want to talk about that quite yet, but we're getting together some some big heavy hitters to kind of talk about maintenance coordination and how we help people with that. We can go into talk about what fixed does for people. Like all of this stuff works together, and we want to become that centralized source for property managers that are looking at, well, how do I get all this stuff together? I need somebody to help me. There's so many options for everything. What can I do? I just want a working property management company. I want to work on the property management, not all this other crazy stuff that's going on. How do I do that? Well, give us a call.
Yep. Now, our mission, just to remind everyone, is to clean up the industry and to make it better, right? But it starts with cleaning up. So, it's for the things that are pretty low hanging fruit, as long as you're a client of ours, and that can mean just you have an order form, you have a payment method on file, fine, right? We're happy to help. But, we're absolutely designing things. For example, E&O insurance, right? Professional liability, right? We're designing bespoke policies specifically for property managers that are way cheaper when, guess what? Your books are clean, right? If your books are clean and you're triple tied out, right? Like the likelihood you're going to, inadvertently or purposely or whatever, screw someone on their security deposit upon their return, right? A refund is probably slim to none, right? And in those scenarios, we're essentially willing to take the risk on the delta between standard policies for PMs and our policies for PMs, right? Because we feel like, one, it's putting money where our mouth is, right? But two, again, the likelihood that you're going to get sued for some financial issue is way less if we can literally prove you're triple tied out, right? You're in trust compliance at all times. It's similar to, most of these car insurance companies now ask you to plug in these OBD2 sensors, right? And they're tracking everything.
I've seen those, and I've before all the GPS tracking and all that stuff, I was like, what do? You plug something into your car? And the answer is like, yeah, you do. You can get your How smart of an idea is that? Prove that you're a good driver by turning this app on or whatever, however it works, to where we're just going to track your speed. We're going to track how your hard braking works. We're going to look
exactly how fast you accelerate.
Are you a good driver or not? Ours is, are you a good property manager or not? Because if you are, guess what? If you are, let's give you all the best rates for everything.
Yeah, it's like, why not? Right? Like you deserve it, right? Like you're running your business well, you're running it cleanly. There's no reason to slam you from an insurance company standpoint with the standard average rates, right? And those are the bets we're willing to make. So, if you're interested in discounted or, proper insurance for a PM company that is risk adjusted for you and not the industry, hit us up, right? Hit Jonathan up, hit me up, right? We're happy to chat. Now, everything we're talking about here, these are all, I'd say, like, we're working on these, right? So not everything is quite in place or at scale yet.
Yep.
But again, the more people, the more property managers we get to join, right? These products or these services or these solutions, whatever you want to call them, typically the better they get, right? Because, we're getting more scale.
So tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Sign up and tell your other property manager friends.
I don't think anything we're doing is ever going to come into trouble when it comes to the new like NAR style price fixing collusion stuff, because none of the stuff that we're working on is front facing, has nothing to do with your pricing, right? Like these are just like standard things a business needs, right? And it's like, again, you need to shop at Home Depot. You might as well get 1, 2, 3% cash back on everything that you spend. Right? Why not? Like you're still going to spend there anyways, right?
You got to go buy a toilet flap, once every, 2 weeks. You got to go buy, door stoppers. And it's those little things that you're like, oh, I don't get my general contractors are the ones that do whatever. Sure, when you need to rebuild a house, but like how often do you have to stop at the Home Depot to get light bulbs, air filters, whatever it might be. Oh, we need 1 can of paint for this. We need a I don't know. There's so many little things that you got to stop by and get. Why aren't you getting 2% cash back? Why aren't you getting 1% cash back? Why aren't you doing this? And it's
and keep in mind, this is on top of your credit card cash back. This is on top of the Home Depot, 10% coupons you can use. Like this is like on top of all of that, right? So, and if your local Home Depot, like store manager is giving you special discounts, guess what? This is still on top of that, right? So you don't lose anything by joining our program effectively.
So to break it down for beyond accounting, $20 for a new T-Mobile line.
Yep. Port over, new one, back. Home Depot cash back. You're going to spend it anyways.
Absolutely. E&O insurance. Discounted E&O insurance.
You've got to get.
Enterprise.
Yep.
Ramp credit cards.
We've
maintenance coordination.
Maintenance coordination. We've got payroll software, right? Gusto, discounted payroll software. I mean, what else do you need?
Well, we can talk about fixed momentarily, even if we wanted to get into that and to go with. So, have we ever talked about fixed on one of our lives?
Probably
Me
not.
and Jesse talk about it so much. I talk about fixed quite a bit with Jesse and with property managers. So sometimes I forget if I've actually talked about this in a live or not. But I think fixed is one of the coolest products that there is.
Rehash it. Go for it, because I've got 3 minutes of heads down biking right now.
Heads down. All right. So the way fixed works, fixed is financing for maintenance issues, or like a big renovation product or some big turn, even things like a not quite a flip, but a big turn where you're doing some major kind of renovations in a project. But it's based on the rent. It's rent-based financing to get all this sort of thing done. We've got clients, Roland Charles, that's part of what he sells to his clients when he's getting new investors to join. Like, hey, guess what? If you don't have the cash on hand to get these properties turned, if you don't have the kind of money that it's going to take to get this in the shape that we want to increase the rents on that, we have a financing solution. And his financing solution is us. That's fixed. That's how that works. We want to help you get these properties in better shape to get you more rent, and to do it all while not putting that financial burden on your investor. It's going to be based purely on the rent portion here. We're going to look at that. We're going to make that analysis, and boom, guess what? Now you can go and get the work done. Now it's ready to get back on the market at a higher rent rate. You're able to find a better quality tenant, all because, hey, guess what? You're an APM Help client, and we're going to help you out with fixed. So, when we're talking about all of the things that we can do for a property manager, you might hear about us, the A, it's for accounting, right? You think APM Help, you think, all right, yeah, you know what? I don't want to do accounting. That's a thing that doesn't help me focus on being a better property manager. We all got to do accounting. Accounting is necessary for the businesses to run, but really I want to focus on all this other stuff. All these periphery ideas, all of these things that make your business better to run smoother, and then all of the things that help you be a better property manager. That's what we are here to do, is kind of help facilitate all of that. Fixed is just another one of those products that we actually can, not only just source for you, not just give you a code to. Like, that's one of our products that helps you manage properties better. I mean, and that's all of us. Like, we are here to help you become the best property manager that you can possibly be. And it does always start with clean books. I think that's such a apt way to begin the conversation. Like, it's,
look,
let's
financing,
get you clean, and then let's see what else we can do for you.
Yeah. Like, look, that financing, it doesn't become available until you're clean, right?
Absolutely.
Like, if you think about anyone who's underwriting anything, right? Like, I'm sorry, but the vast majority of our industry is not clean, right? And like, there's a reason why rent-based financing or bespoke financing like this is not available for our industry, right? Like, it's because at the end of the day, anyone who's tried it has been burned. They've lost money on it, right? And they're just like, why does this keep happening? It's rent, right? Like,
Yeah,
blah 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 blah.
we know what
right?
rent is.
And
We can look at a market.
yeah, and look, this financing thing, we don't make very much money on this stuff, right? Like, we're essentially pulling the demand. We're going and getting warehouse lines, and we're helping our PMs then deploy that, right? And so really, outside of like maybe 300 basis points to cover our administrative costs, right? Like, we're essentially passing through whatever rates we're getting. So these are market rates when it comes to the financing, right? And again, like, the more demand, the more money, or the bigger the line we get, the cheaper those rates become, right? So we're not necessarily saying we're super incentivized to go, deploy, right? We have our kind of like guidelines, right, on who and where we're going to deploy, but we're telling you right now on this podcast, right, or on this live stream, this is designed specifically so that you as a property manager never have to be the bank anymore. You never have the pressure of like, oh crap, I really know, or I really think, this property needs an extra 5 or 10 grand to capture that market rate, but my owner isn't liquid, or just isn't, they just can't get me the money. All right, so what do I do? Right, it's like, well,
do you fork up the extra 500 and be like, look, I promise this will come back, and then hope they reimburse you? I've been in that situation so many times.
And every owner's like, oh, it's $500. Just get it from rent. Holy shit, look at all these bikers.
Yeah, good gracious. That's a class right there. That is
that's
those are not independent riders right there. That is some big Zumba class or something. I don't know if Zumba's on bikes, whatever the ones is on bikes. Spinning classes, those are bikes, right?
Yeah, it's some kind of either race or something going on. So
clearly.
But yeah, look, hit us up, right? The more we have that needs to deploy, again, the better the rates get, right? And look, it's always an offer. It's not like you have to take our money. And let's clarify, it's not you as the PM that takes our money, by the way, right? This just becomes available. You can see this as like your financing department as a service, right? Like, every PM should have a finance department. You don't, right? So we're essentially saying, well, we'll be your finance department. Anytime an owner needs money, let us know. We'll make them an offer, right? And you can trust that our offer is similar to Costco, right? Like has fixed margins on them, right? And all we're really trying to do is cover our costs of administering these things, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no profit in it for us. Why? Because we make our money on the recurring accounting services. These are
Mhm.
all part of our beyond accounting package,
Yeah.
right? For PMs, but we don't need to make any money here, right? We're just trying to help make you better. That's it.
And like that's exactly the point. It's all of these tools that we're adding to just what we can do for people. The reason that we are able to provide all of these just kind of unique services for a property manager is because we have the proof, right? We're able to look at the accounting portion of it. We're able to look at the numbers, look at the books and say, yep, this company is clean. Let's do all these cool, awesome additional services for them, because that's what we're looking for. Like we want to be the arm of your company that lets you do property management better. I mean, when I talked about Roland earlier, he was a consulting client of mine for a period of time. And that was when we were looking at like his unique selling proposition for the part of Florida that he's in. We're talking about like, how do you build that USP? How do you go out there and explain to an investor or a client, why do you want to use my services as a property manager? There's property managers all over the place. How do I stand out as a property manager? And one of the things that, and this is before I worked at APM Help, but he was like, let me tell you about this awesome thing that I have that nobody else in my market has. I'm able to provide, and I think it's up to $30,000 of renovation costs for a property based on rent-based financing. And I was like, Roland, how are you doing that? And he's like, I got a company called APM Help that's helped me do this through a thing called Fix. And I was like, what? And then I joined the team and I was like, Roland is awesome. This is some cool stuff. And it was because like, well, you're an investor in an area and you look at all your options for property management, and one of them tells you, hey, not only can I prove that I have the best books, so you know that I'm treating you right, I have all of the best services, and I can help you as a landlord be a better landlord on top of just managing your properties better. Who's going to win that business? It's that guy. Of course it's that guy. That's who I would want managing my property, somebody that I know is clean and somebody that can run my properties better than I can and can actually, help me get these properties in the condition that I want. So I'm upgrading all of my, properties to be maximum at, peak market level, because, hey, we can do that if we can, show that everything's clean and good to go. Let's go. Why would I choose any other property manager? Of course.
Yep. And I guess also anyone who's like, oh, well, they're making this available to everyone. Why am I special? Let's be very clear here, okay? We currently have about, call it like 500 recurring clients. 500 out of 200,000 property managers in America.
258,000? What was the last?
Some crazy count, right? So we're saying we're less than 0.25% of the industry. Okay, so like out of every 100 PMs in your market, right, less than one of them will be an APM customer, right? That has access to this kind of stuff. So like, hop on, get on the train. What are you waiting for?
Well, it's like the question of like, what is the easiest step to become the best property manager in your area? Well, if you want to, but what do you mean by the best? Like the most responsible, the one that can perform the best? Like, well, we all have systems, you all collect rent, you all do all of this stuff, but what does it mean to be the best? Well, prove it, be clean, have all the tools. And guess
Provide
what?
the best value, right?
If you provide the best value, if you are the one APM Help client in your market, guess what? You win. Like it's such an easy step to then be like, not only am I the best, I can prove it. I can prove it. Daily bank recs, triple tied out. I have Fixed. I'm using Enterprise. I've got all these cool tools. I am the best. And you can just prove it. It's just so easy to be the best local PM. by picking up the phone and calling Larry or calling me.
Yeah.
Or calling me.
Send
I
us
mean,
an email. Yeah.
it's shoot us an email. It's such an easy step to just get on the track to be I mean, like it's the proof is in the pudding. It's just you can quite literally just be clean and be better than all of your competition.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
and I think everybody kind of knows why it's so hard to stay clean in property management. But I think Travis Bowling was talking about, I mean, it's the reason that when he opened Home Ladder, he was like, the first thing that I did was I went ahead and signed up with APM Help as I'm starting, Home Ladder, because instead of getting bad and then having to get clean and go through all that, the work to like fix the books, his opinion was, I'm starting a property management company. I want to start clean so that I never have to go and do that work on the back end to re-clean myself up, right? So when I'm looking at a small property management company, when you're building a property management company, how do you do that? And it's part of what I'm talking about in the PM 101 series that we're building. Which, by the way, the first edition came out last week for the PM 101 series. We're building a really cool PM 101 series that will graduate to a PM 102 series. The 101 should be about 15 different. I think it's 15 different blogs that are going to come out that is like a step-by-step guide in building up a property management company, where you might be coming into. And then the 102 series is that's going to be the kind of hidden paywalled situation where we really get into some nitty-gritty of how-tos. Those are much bigger, more in-depth articles than the 101 series. But my point is, you want to get your PM company going. You want to start getting all the pieces in the right spot. I mean, Travis's idea was, I just wanted to start with clean books because it gets to be such a hassle on the back end. I do want all the benefits. I do want all of the tools that APM Help can provide. So as I'm starting my company, the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sign up with APM Help. But there's a lot of people that already have a property management company going. You're a small mom and pop. How do you get to be the best in your market? You give us a call. Does that make any sense? Am I making sense, or am I just pitching now?
Well, no, it makes a ton of sense. But all right, so we've got about 15, call it 10 more minutes.
Yep.
Let's talk about a current event in our industry. And I think the current event I want to talk about is the NAR. I mean, it's tangential to our industry, right? But like
it's
the
huge.
NAR settlement,
it's huge,
because it also involves leasing, by the way.
Yep.
Right. It's any kind of commission, so it does touch our industry. So
Please.
why don't we recap? And I don't actually have the notes in front of me, but NAR ended up settling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the settlement, the monetary is one thing, but that's kind of just a number. The real impact is they agreed to change the rules for essentially participating in MLSs, right?
Yep.
So historically, in an MLS, sell side or listing agents could put essentially the incentive, the buyer side, the co-representation commission that they would split or share, right? That's no longer the case. That's going away, right? So let's just talk briefly about just that one point, right?
Just the idea that the listing is no longer incentivizing a buyer agent.
Correct. Or a buyer representative for a lease as well. And it's not that they're not incentivizing. It's that as a buyer rep, you don't know how much you could potentially get because it's no longer like publicly or like transparently being shown or shared.
You have to negotiate your price with your client. You're not relying on the listing agent to settle your payment, with just the listing anymore. So Kelly Segreto and I talked about this for, I don't know, maybe 2 hours the day that this came out and the ruling was passed down. We talked about how this is going to impact a ton. Me and Christine Bennett talked about this for, probably 2 or 3 hours the day that this ruling came out. What is this going to do to the real estate industry? What is it going to do to the rental market? And, at first when it came down, I was like, oh man, this is going to change a lot of who is in the business. Because if you are operating as a buyer's agent and just relying on, hey, I'm just going to send everybody Zillow listings and you pick which one it is, and I'm going to go and use my showing time to let you into the house, and you go and you sell yourself the house. What have I really done in that case? I'm going to help you negotiate the contract, maybe, and I'm going to get my whatever percentage that is being offered by the seller, and I'm happy. I think what this new ruling is going to be is it's going to cut a lot of the real estate agents are not going to be able to negotiate that price anymore. They're not going to be able to negotiate with their own clients, at the same skill level that everybody is. So it's going to make a really hard delineation between good agent and less good, really maybe even a bad agent. I think we're going to lose some agents over this. Is where I think it's going to go, because it's requiring more work. The people that stay in the industry are actually going to be the ones that really know how to get this done and can justify their price points, right? Yeah. You're going to be the ones that are going to stay in it are going to be the ones that really know what they're doing. And simultaneously, on the listing side, if you're a listing agent anymore, you can't just rely on, hey, yeah, I'm going to offer half of my commission. Somebody find me a buyer for this house, and then just sit back on your hands and wait. Guess what? Listing agents are going to have to put in more work nowadays. They're going to have to go out and find clients that want to buy these properties.
Yep.
So
now, granted, in that situation, they're still going to be conflicted too, right? Because,
of course they are.
The listing agent at the end of the day, they're going to still be dual agencies in those scenarios. So,
you can do transaction brokers in that case. You can go in and I represent the list, or I represent the seller. I will be your transaction broker to handle that. But that always gets dicey. I mean, that's a good reason to have good E&O insurance right there. But I mean, that's going to happen. I think what we're going to see is your days on market is going to start creeping up. We still have low inventory in the market, but your days on market are going to start creeping up, which means prices are going to start coming down, which means rental prices additionally, because that's just how the market kind of connects. Rental prices are going to start coming down as well, and they're going to start sitting on the market slightly longer because, hey, guess what? That's what's happening now. You put any sort of regulation on the ability to make a sale happen quickly, that's where the market's going to continue to soften. Do you see a different angle from it than that?
Well, I do think there's differing factors, right? If all else were to remain the same, I would agree with you. But I do think interest rates, the Fed, literally today, right? Yeah, because today is Wednesday. FOMC is about to come out, and it's likely that they're either going to hold steady or they may drop the rates, right? Now, granted, JP Morgan, what's his face, is signaling, or he tweeted or whatever, don't drop the rate, right? So we'll see. But sometime in this year, the rates are going to drop, and when rates drop, it's going to signal rates are dropping, and that means inventory will start coming back on, and prices are going to start going back up, right? Because a 0.25% rate drop is significant, right? And originally the Fed signaled they were going to do at least 3 quarter drops, right? So dropping from our current steady state of 7.7%. And now granted, like a 30-year fixed rate is not actually based on the Fed's rate, but they trend in the same direction, right? So, going from that down to like the high 6s, I mean, for every 100,000, that's an extra 1,000 in interest effectively, right? So for your average home, that's 400 grand these days, 500 grand, right? Literally a 1% drop in interest rates per year is $4,000, $5,000. That's a $300 to $500 a month extra that they no longer have to pay, right? So what is that going to inevitably do? That's going to go into the price of the home.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a free market, right? Like if you could afford it at that point, well, you can afford it now too, right? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, so again, all else being the same, I agree with you. It's going to be harder for listing agents, right? There's probably going to be more conflicts. There's going to be an uncertain time, but I do think good buyer reps, right, or buyer's agents or buyer's brokers will still be able to command a premium.
For
Right.
sure. If you are good at, if you can do a pro forma, if you know how to build like an investment portfolio for people, if you are the kind of buyer's agent that can go and look at a property and say, let me explain to you why you should buy this property. It's a good investment for these multiple reasons. Guess what? You're still going to have tons of business, because all of the agents that rely on the listing agent to do all the work, and then I'm just going to send you a Zillow listing. Yeah. Those are, I think, the ones that are going to be gone. But that's a large number of agents. The people that can actually build a pro forma and like explain to you what your cash on cash return is going to be on an investment property, those are few and far between. I think those agents, those rock star buyers agents, yeah, they're not even going to, they're only going to see an increase in business due to this.
Oh, absolutely. I actually think those are the ones who already have the IABS, right? The brokers agreements, locked in place with their clients. And whether their clients, like at the end of the day, right, all this really means is if you negotiate a price with the seller and the seller is not paying a commission for whatever reason, right, whatever you negotiate with your buyer agent, that's going to get tacked on to the purchase of the price or the purchase of the home. Like that's all it really means, right? So it's not really that different, right? If anything, it's being more transparent of, you know, like who's actually adding the value and who's going to get compensated for that value, right?
What is my
I think that's very
incentive
fair.
as a buyer's agent? Is my incentive to help you get a better deal, or is my incentive to make you pay a higher price so that I get a better deal?
Yeah. Right.
Transparency is really clear this way.
Yeah, or at least it's clearer, right?
Clearer.
Like there's still, yeah, it's clearer. There's still some conflicts and blah blah blah, and you know, like if you're still working on a commission basis, right? Or if you're not doing volume, like and I'm thinking from not necessarily the investor's broker, but like I'm thinking just the vast majority of homes are purchased by, you know, homeowners, right? In that kind of world, you know, a buyer's agent who's working on a commission basis is still unfortunately incentivized to get you a higher price.
Yep.
Right? Their job is to get you into a home, but they make more money the higher that home is worth, right? Or it's purchased at, right? So, you know, and I actually think an interesting model, now I have not thought through all this yet, but I think an interesting model that you could potentially, what could potentially emerge is if I'm a buyer's rep, I essentially tell you, hey, look, you can find listings all day long, okay? I make my money as a carry model on how much I can negotiate it down from the listing price.
Okay.
So for example, right, I make, you know, like carry typically in most industries, or this is called promote in most real estate worlds, right? In like sponsors or syndications, but it's like, you know, for every whatever, like I want 20% of what I save you.
Okay.
Right? Not I'm going to get a certain amount just because you close. No. I only make money if I save you money, right?
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be an argument of like, oh well, anybody could have gotten 10% off. Yeah, no, exactly, right. Or there's going to be times over list, exactly, right. Now, I do think there's probably going to be like a minimum model where it's like, look, for my efforts, you're going to pay me a minimum of $1,000. Okay, that covers my costs, blah blah blah, whatever.
This is what I'm going to do for that work.
Yeah, but right, like the easiest way to make it really fair is here's how much it's ultimately going to be based on how much I save you, right? Like look, in a market where everything is going over list, like arguably I'm not doing you a favor. I'm not doing anything. Everything's going over list, right? Like, you know,
the question comes in that case in like what all services is that buyer's agent providing? This is why I was saying that I think a lot of buyer's agents that just relied on the fact that, yeah, I got you to the closing table, I get my 3%, 2.5%, whatever percentage commission by default. I think a lot of those agents are going to be gone, and I think
Right.
the agents that are going to be left over are the ones that can explain and articulate, hey, these are the actual things I'm going to do for you. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to get you a better price on this house, because the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that you don't get screwed on this house. I'm going to make sure that we get the inspections done. I'm going to make sure that you are connected with the best mortgage broker. I'm going to make sure that when you find this home, it's exactly what you're looking for. Like the real selling idea of what a buyer's agent is supposed to be. I'm going to find you your dream home. And what that means is I'm going to sort through 5,000 listings to find the one that has exactly all of the things that you are looking for in your, forever home. I'm going to find that. I'm going to sit it in your lap. I'm not just going to send you Zillow listings. Guess what? That buyer's agent that really says, I can look, I can do discovery. I can ask you all of the right kinds of questions to help you describe what would be your perfect home. And then I'm going to deliver you 3 listings, 4 listings, whatever. I'm going to say, hey, here are the handful of listings that have everything that you are looking for. And on top of that, here's the best mortgage broker that you can get in this area. I've got the contacts for the best inspector to make sure that we know that this house is in good condition. I've got the best, surveyors. I've got the best everything. I've got the best, general contractors on the end of this to make sure that we paint the walls and get everything done. I've coordinated all of this to help you buy this proper house. Hey, guess what? If that guy doesn't get me a discount on the house, I don't care, because he's done all of the other work, and I am happy to pay that man independently of what the listing agent is, right? Like that, those agents are still going to be making business. Those agents are still going to be making money, because that is a rock star agent.
Right.
There's the difference, right? It's what's the difference between a buyer's agent? If you're not that kind of buyer's agent, maybe your business isn't going to keep working well. But if you are,
the day and age where you just, took a templated contract, filled out the form, and sent it away, and you were able to then coast to closing, I'm sorry. Those kinds of agents, if you somehow are still able to get 3% or any percent of a deal, right? Like, more power to you. But this is one of the awesome things about a free market or America, right? Like, with the right level of regulation to make things more fair, right? Like that. And I think this is good because it's just more transparency in general, right? Like, the market will decide.
The more effort you put into your career as an agent, the more you're going to be successful. This rewards effort, as opposed to allowing the worst among them to be what everybody depicts a real estate agent as. That's where I really see this ruling making a big change. And how quickly are we going to see that change? It's going to be a minute or two. It'll probably be a year before the general populace sees a major change in what a buyer's agent does. I mean, I think we'll also see a change in how that business model works. I don't think you'll see quite as many part-time real estate agents. The kind of people that just sit around and wait for stuff to happen. I think we'll see less of those. And how that's going to affect rent is, I think rents are going to slow down slightly. They're going to drop a little bit. I don't think it's going to be stark. But I think the property managers that know what they're doing, they're going to float to the top.
Yep. Back to property managers. And again, we're trying to clean up the industry, make it better, right? So if you're a clean property manager, you should also be a client of ours, because we'll make everything available to you. We'll help you become better, right? Don't just come to us when you're getting audited. You come to us when you're getting audited, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be really expensive, and it's going to be the most difficult decision of your life, right? Do you want to get clean and save your business, or it's not worth it anymore? And so don't come to us in that situation, please.
No,
employee.
come to us if you're getting audited. We'll help you. We'll help
Oh
you.
yeah, absolutely, right? Because I don't think there's really
Just
anybody
don't wait.
else who can, like, nobody else has the track record we do as it
Exactly.
relates to saving PM companies who are getting audited either. But like, understand that that stuff, that knowledge, that expertise, that is really expensive. And again, you know, I don't think there's anyone else in this industry who has the track record we do. So
Absolutely not. We'll actually we'll probably talk about that tomorrow a little bit. But you know what? I think you had a great ride this morning. I think everybody we've had a lot of viewers this morning. I've been watching the
oh yeah,
views. A lot of people have jumped in and jumped out, and we've had
cool.
5 to 6 viewers come in and sit here and just kind of hang out and listen for quite some time. But you know, we always get more views on the afterwards, anyways, because not everybody's quite awake at from 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you got a good bit of info out of today's ride. If you have any questions, if you have any comments that you want us to discuss in another one of these lives, shoot it in the comments. I read all the comments. Send me a DM. We can discuss some stuff. Hey, if you want to join us on a ride in the morning, you've got your morning brisk walk outside and you're preparing for your own Ironman. Feel free to let me know. You can join the live. Look, I'll send out an invitation. You can come in and join the discussion live if you would like. But we will be here in the morning again, ready to ride and talk about property management. But I think both of us have to get the kids to school nowadays, right?
Yeah,
It's time to prepare for school, everyone. Have a great day, everyone. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye, buddy. Thank you guys so much for joining. We will be here tomorrow again, somewhere between 6 a.m. and 6:30. But I hope you join us. Thank you all for being in the live today. Bye.